Good morning. My name is Ed Hill. We're here in the offices of the Etowah Valley Historical Society in the gold-domed courthouse. It's Saturday, June 20th, 2009. We're here to interview Marion Smith. Was born and raised here in Bartow County and has a long history of being a contractor and part-time farmer here in Bartow County. Marion, you were born and raised here. Were your parents born and raised here?
My dad was born in Liberty, South Carolina, and my mother was born in Canton, Georgia.
And when did they? Yeah, go ahead.
Do what now?
When did they arrive here in Bartow County?
Papa came here on covered and wagon in 1906 and they lived on the old fiddle place, which is old mill down there, and it's all bare tees down there, and they didn't know what it was, and so many rocks they sold it. And my mother, I don't know what year she came here, but she went to school at U Harley Academy, no, Salisbury Academy. That's where she was educated.
Oh, great. What business was your father in?
Farming all her life.
He was a farmer?
My granddaddy, on my mother's side, was in the carpenter business, and he helped him when he wasn't farming and had a job. He helped him on his carpenter work.
When did you get your start in farming and carpentry?
Me?
Yeah.
I guess I was 8 years old. I know, and 11 years old and 12 years old, and my dad worked for 3 years at Ladd's and left me and my sister and 2 other brothers to farm, and in 1928 we raised 3 bales of cotton, and I can remember just as well when they sold it. As a big bale weighed 600 pounds, and Papa got 12.5 cents a pound for it, and that's the lowest, highest all the years I farmed sold any cotton.
Where'd you go to school? Did you go to school here in Bartow County?
I went to school in Carsville, first over in Douglas Street, and in the 3rd year I went to Cherokee Avenue.
What year did you graduate from high school?
1934.
That puts you a few years older than me. Not a lot. You're a part of what they call the greatest generation. You went through both the Depression and World War II. What are your memories of the Depression?
I remember that one year in high school I had on 1 pair of pants, and by the time the spring of the year it was threadbare. and shoes, you'd pay about $1 for shoes, $1 a pair of overalls. And your shoes, when they come, it didn't last as long as it did now. And we'd take hog rings and put around and hold them together. And when we got them in spring of the year, you went to Sunday school with them too. You had to keep them in good shape.
Things have changed a little.
And the first year I married, I got $8 a week. I worked from 6 to 5 one day and 6 to 3 the next day, 7 days a week. I got $8 a week, so that made me work $416. That's what I made, and I paid $12 a month house rent.
When World War II started, what effect did that have on you?
Well, when it started, I worked till, I think it's February or April, the rest of it. And one of the hands at Goodyear is going to the Army, so I got a job for $15 a week, 40 hours a week, at the office, and then I signed up for, they sent paper around, signed up thing. I signed up for carpenter work, and I worked out there about 3 months, and I went up to Norfolk, Virginia, and helped build the first CB base up at Little Creek in Norfolk. And I stayed up there to finish that base. Then I went up to Naval Base and worked on a while there, and then went on up to Williamsburg, Virginia, and worked on another base. And well, I was living in, it was a rough place to find a place to live up there. And then later on in October, I believe, I got a notice I was going to be inducted, so I came home and stayed a while, and when I got in service, I didn't weigh but 165 pounds.
Do you remember, we were talking before we started here on the beginning of the war. Do you remember where you were when you first heard about Pearl Harbor?
I was down the road across the railroad and the corner, and working in the restaurant. I was sitting up on the counter, nobody in there, but me and the cook, and I was drinking a cup of coffee when I heard it, but I didn't know where it was either.
Most Americans don't have any idea where Pearl Harbor was.
Well, now you ask young people where Pearl Harbor was, they can't tell you what it is.
No, that's sad.
I saw that on television. That's Pearl Harbor. There's 4 people on there, and neither one of them know where Pearl Harbor was.
You were in the construction business here a long time.
Anything we did. Papa showed us how, and I learned from Papa and my granddaddy.
What all buildings have you worked on?
Do what?
What all buildings have you worked on in Cartersville?
I built 2 port centers. They were 500 cells of one. I worked up at Aubrey Lake, built their dairy. I built about 12 or 14 filling stations. A lot of work down at the chemical plant, a lot of work at New Riverside, and 2 banks. I just did a little bit of everything. I didn't like to build houses, just to build houses. I like to do something different. And I did a lot different.
Yeah. We were talking a minute ago about World War II. You went into service then for?
December, I went down to the 3rd of December and then come back home, and I was inducted 17th of December, and it's so cold you spit in the ground, and that time it hit the ground, it froze, and it got over to Little Rock, Arkansas, and it was about 40 degrees. It was a big difference.
And what were your experiences in the war?
I was in medics, and then first training, and then I was elected to train. I was in cadre, and we trained 2 more bunches, and then from then they disbanded the outfit and it sent me to Springfield, Missouri for training to go on the battlefield. And then they come around and said they wanted volunteers for advanced training to go right up on the line and treat people and get them back to the aid station. So I volunteered for that. And a week before we was shipped out, I got deathly sick and went to the hospital and had to stay a month. And then I stayed there for the rest of another month. And they shipped me to Crowell General Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio, and I stayed the rest of the time there working surgery. A lot of innocents, saw a lot of people operated on, and you wouldn't believe what they do to people and make them well. And most of the people, the soldiers, were cheerful and didn't remorseful. There's a bunch of good boys, I thought.
Well, did you have any brothers in the service?
Brother under me stayed, he's in the Coast Guard. He was on Guadalcanal, and he was stayed 5 years. And my youngest brother, when I went to Norfolk, I got a place about 3 blocks from Naval Base, and he was up there taking his training. And when he got off and got out on a weekend, if we had a weekend, we stayed together there. And he went to on LSD, and he was in the invasion of Sicily, Salerno, Anzio, and on the second day of Normandy. And we all got out about the same time.
And neither one of you?
No one of us was hurt, except for my brother when he got that piece of shrapnel in his throat. And I lost a brother-in-law killed in the Po Valley in Italy, and a first cousin that got killed on the Franklin, and his brother got captured at the Battle of the Buds, and he got treated so bad that he didn't live about 45 years old. He got treated real bad in the Army, Germans.
To go back to the construction business, you've seen a lot of changes in how buildings are put together. What was it like in the quote, good old days?
First, well, 2 years I came home, everything I built was with handsaw. You didn't hear of electric saw. That was the biggest change. And then we'd have to take a pick and shovel and go out and dig ditches, and then they got the backhoe. And that made people lazy. You can't get out and work like we used to. First, we didn't have cement. We had to mix, before Harris put his plan, we had to mix it all by hand.
Which was fun.
Oh. You got some good cement, and you got some bad cement.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as uniform as it is now.
No, it was not.
You've done a lot of farming too in your time, mostly on the side, I guess. When did you first start that?
Well, when I got home from the Army, I lived here in town for 2 years, and I had an uncle that dealt in the real estate a little bit, and he found a farm up at Castle, 203 acres. He wanted $2,500 for it, so I bought it, and it was mostly hills. It was only about 40 acres, so I raised cattle and a garden and enjoyed hunting on it. And then when my wife died in '71, they were building 75 right close by, and traffic and all. So I sold out and moved down to Taylorville, where I've been living there since '73. And I paid $2,500 for the farm. And about 6 months ago, it sold for $4 million, the one farm I was living on.
Too bad you didn't hold on to it a little longer.
Well, I thought about it later on, and I could have, but I didn't realize it.
No, you never. Yeah. The house farming has changed a lot too.
Ooh. Well, you take hay for, and farming. When I went in service, the last year I farmed, I raised 19 bales of cotton from my own, and plus what Papa raised. And we carried it all to gin in a wagon. You carry one bale and get it gin, you go back and get another and go back. There was 3 gins in town. And when the service was over, I never saw another wagon. It was gin, everything was in trucks, everything was in tractors. And I don't think I saw a pair of mules in the field after World War II as I can remember.
The buildings you built around, what was the building you're most proud of you built here in Cartersville?
Well, I haven't built many buildings. As I built a Presbyterian church, an annex on it in '57, I believe it was. I was proud of it when I got through with it.
You mentioned the Presbyterian church. I know you've been a long-time member of the church. You remember when you joined?
Yeah, I remember exactly when I joined. It was in 26.
1926.
Yeah, 1926.
Where were you living then?
I'm living where I moved in a house where I was raised at. The day I was 1 year old, it was on Burn Acre Road. And I try to think. See, I lived there. Well, that house is it's 90 years old, 92 years old.
Now or when you moved in?
1 year old. The day I was 1 year old. I moved in the day I was 1 year old, and I'm 93 now. So that house is 92 years old. And my dad used a broad axe and cut all the seals for the house.
You were telling me about the construction of some of those old houses you lived in. Was that at the house you were talking about with the heart pine?
That's the one I lived in, dear, and Taylor's the one that's heart pine.
Yeah.
This that down there, my house down there is 2-story, and this one over here is 1-story.
Yeah. I know your dad was a member of the Presbyterian Church here at the...
He was a member of the Presbyterian Church in South Carolina and member of the Presbyterian Church here in Cartersville.
And he took you in, and you've been coming ever since. You've been coming for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I can remember. I remember when we came here and went to church, we came in a buggy. And a horse and buggy. And my grandmother come in a horse and buggy, and we come in a mule and buggy. And we'd go down to the behind leak place where the Chamber of Commerce is, all that open space. And you had places where you tied your mules and buggies and all down there. And Papa had a hand that helped him before we got up big enough. And Papa come home one Monday morning and found he had new check lines for his mules, for his wagon. And he asked the guy, I said, where'd you find the check lines? What'd you cost? He says, I just swapped them.
You've seen a lot of changes here in Bartow County. What do you think's been the biggest change, or has just everything changed so much?
Well, I can remember when we went to Atlanta when I was a kid, and went down before you got to the river. You turn to the right, and there's a 1-lane covered bridge. That's all way you get it back and forth is a covered bridge. If you saw one fella coming on the other side, you had to wait till he come through, and then you took a chance. If you get the mule, go across the creek. And then in 25 and 26, they come at building roads. And the road used to wind here and there, and Hot 41 used to go through Atco, and go up here in the road train. And I guess the biggest change is the road way you travel.
How much effect did the dam have on Bartow County? Did it affect you personally?
I was building a building down there for my uncle, and he had a building already built, and he had rented part of the building to the union. And I told the union man, I said, there's a man up here I want to see. He said, if he got some money, I want to talk to him. If he ain't got no money, I don't want to talk to him. And I had a little, I didn't like the union from then on. And it brought a lot of people into town. It didn't have no effect on me.
No effect on you? Didn't keep you from getting flooded out, did it?
Well, I never was flooded out because I wasn't on the river.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember that all where down in Lee's Bottom there, where if it didn't have a dam, everything down there now would be flooded.
Ed, you want to talk about your family? Do you want to talk about your family?
Well, I can talk a little bit. If you don't like it, I can.
Okay, so you can cut out what you should say the wrong thing. We'll cut it out. Has your family always stayed here in Bartow County, or did some of them leave?
Papa moved here from South Carolina, and Mama moved here from Canton.
Yeah. And what about your siblings, your brothers and sisters?
Oh, they were raised here, and after the war, my youngest brother was in the Navy. And when he got out, before he got out of the Navy, they sent him to Hiwassee Dam. They had a 90-foot tower out on the lake, and they used it for experiment for rockets. And he stayed up there till he was discharged, and then he stayed on he went from there to Norfolk, Virginia, and he stayed on. And he said at one time, he told me, he said, I could start pressing button and I could blow this whole harbor up in here. And he met a girl from Hiwassee and married her, and her brother was captured in Battalion March, and he's still alive. He wrote a book about his experience in there. And the oldest, the second brother, he got out and he commenced working for me, and then he worked for this and person part, and then Gold Kiss brought, not Gold Kiss, but Redcomb built a feed mill, and he got the job in maintenance, and he went from maintenance, they sent him to Sanford, North Carolina, where he run the mill there, and they sold out, and because he didn't have a college education, they sent him, and he quit and come back, and then he went back to Valdosta, and he built another plant down in Valdosta, and he got running good, and then he sent him up to Sanford, North Carolina, I believe it was, and he built another mill and run it and got it running, and then was that tired, and he retired and come back home.
He's here now?
No, he died about 4 years ago, I think, about 5 years ago.
And you have a sister. I know you have a sister.
My sister's still living. She's 95. She taught school for 40 years.
Where'd she teach?
She taught, first she went down to Austell and taught there. And then she came back and commenced teaching at Peoples Valley. And she taught my wife before she, in high school, when she got to high school, that's where I met her wife.
Any other relatives you want to talk about?
Not as I know
Okay. Well, Marion, thank you very much. It's been very enjoyable.
of. Well, thank you.
I'm sure we missed an awful lot because you've had a long, productive life.
Well, I've enjoyed it.
Well, good.
We was talking about farming. I never did finish up that, but anyway, you take cutting hay now. You had to, old mule had to go out and cut the hay, and then you had the mule rake it up, and you had to take the pitchfork and put it on. And last week we cut about 35 acres. Never got off the tractor, and we had 100 bales of hay in the barn in 3 days. And back then, it'd take 2 weeks to get that much in, and not half as hard.
And you didn't have to put up with the mules.
Didn't have to put a, well, Papa never, he had good mules. He never did have a wild. He bought one mule, and the man sold it, family, widow woman raised that mule in Missouri. And it's a big old red mule. And we'd be out in the pasture, and that mule would come up to us and sit there and rub it, and you'd had to rub it. And he bought another mule, and he'd follow it. You go out and ride him in, not have a bottle, just, I plowed one of them, and didn't even have a line. The other one out there and picked it up. He had, and one of them, the red one got killed by lightning. And I don't know what happened to the other one, but he had one little old mule. We know it was 35 years old. We don't know how much older. And they said it, and Papa had a brother that went to Yosemite National Park and built a mine out there for people. And they had wild mules out there, wild horses. And he said he'd watch his son get out in the shade and crawl up and jump on a wild horse and ride him and then get off. And he come here, he's run away from home when he's 12 years old. It took him a month to get here on the railroad first one. And it's in the fall, spring year, and he tried to ride that other mule, he couldn't. He said, I'm gonna ride him. So he plowed that mule 2 days as hard as he could. He got on that mule every time he just throw it. So when we all left home, he set the mule up to a man that had a big pasture, and $1 a month all it cost him. And he had 3 little boys. They get that mule, not no halter, nothing. And they get up fence posts, so they had, and crawl up there and ride that mule all over, and that mule never did turn. Mule knew he wanted to ride, he wouldn't ride.
How long did you have mules? When was the last you had a mule?
Oh, I had it in 50. I fell off and broke from back, and I had to stay in the hospital a while. Back never had to quit hurting. I fell off of it. I was on it. I was going to bring it home. A man had borrowed it, and I was going to bring it home. I just jumped up on it, and his mule run and mine run, and it's going to a barn. And if I'd stayed on it, there's a piece of tin there, and I come off, and I hit the ground. I had to pick him up. I carried him in the hospital. I was hurting. I never hurt so bad in my life. It still hurts.
When did you switch to automobiles and trucks?
Oh, I just used them. I had a neighbor up there who wanted to use the mule to plow his garden, so that's all I had it for.
Yeah.
I hadn't plowed a mule since I got home from the Army. I don't think I'd ever hooked a mule up since then.
Now you've got air-conditioned trucks and cars. And
I got air-conditioned car and truck with air-conditioned tractor. I don't use air conditioning. My wife had sinus, and she had that air conditioning. We'd go down to Florida and just keep that air conditioning on. And I'd come home a week later, and I always wound up a week with cold. Couldn't work.
You still don't use it?
I use it not all the time. I shut it off. I don't like it that high wind. While I was in the hospital and here in Carville, they had a fan blowing on me all the time. I took the flu while I was in the hospital with that fan blowing on me.
Well, Marion, thanks a lot. Really enjoyed it.
Same here.
I've learned a lot, and I hope you've had reminded you of a lot of things too that you may have forgotten.
There's things. Have you ever been in a Gilreath Lumber house store?
Yeah.
Did you go to the bathroom?
I don't remember.
Well, in the bathroom, they had one of the original toilets, and it was wood, the water, and the water was up about 8 foot high in a tank. And when you flush the toilet, you go there and pull the lever, and it flushed the toilet. If that's still in there, I don't know.
I don't know.
You ought to go in there and see it.
I'll do that. That'll be top of my list of things to do.
And you build the houses now. You know, they put the electricity in the baseboard.
Yeah.
You know why they did that?
No.
Well, they couldn't get up and down the studs in them old houses. They could get underneath the house and come up and put them in there. And I built my house. I put mine up where I could get to them. I didn't have to crawl down. And I put all my, except for when we got, I put a room on the house down there, and when I got home, they didn't put all the stuff that made me mad. But my daughter, when she built her house, she put hers up about 3 foot, so she could just go plug it in after move.
Yeah.
So a lot of convenience.
So some things have gotten better.
Oh, well, a lot of things got better.
Most things got better. The good old days weren't so good, right?
Well, now you go out in the field, you're going to call home and tell them to bring a drink of water. You got that done. Had to holler. Tell them to bring a drink of water. I don't know why. My grandmother, they owned 8 acres. You know where the processing plant is in Sugar Valley, where the kiln goes. It's 8 acres. They used to own that. And that's where we got our wood. And why we didn't take a drink of water with us when we went over there as kids. We used a wagon to get over there. And the time we got home, we was thirsty as everything. But that thing, that was Dr. Howell and Frank Shaw. There was turkeys back over there when I was a kid. And they had a place over there where they bait the turkeys. They called that his turkey farm. So we'd go over there, and that back in, back in the 40s, I reckon there's still turkeys over there back in that end.
Yeah.
Dr. Howell, I always liked him as a man and as a doctor too.
It's Saturday, June 20th, 1909. Whoops.
Yeah, that's right.
It's 2009, not.
Well, you're dragging.